It was supposed to be a routine address, a standard gathering of clergy and educators that typically passes without a whisper in the global news cycle. But the energy in St. Peter's Square on this day was anything but ordinary. No one saw it coming. Not the bishops, not the theologians, not even the seasoned Vatican reporters. Then, Pope Leo XIV approached the microphone. He paused, letting a heavy silence hang in the air before he spoke just a handful of words. In that moment, the entire Catholic world caught fire. This wasn't a whispered rumor or a leaked document. It was a live, unambiguous declaration that sent the Vatican into crisis mode within hours. Depending on who you ask, what he said was either an act of divine courage or one of spiritual sabotage. Stay with me, because this isn't just another religious controversy. This is about truth, and what happens when someone dares to say it out loud.
So what was this earth-shattering statement? The Church, Pope Leo said, is not here to mirror society. It is here to confront it. He didn't point fingers at secular society or outside forces. He turned his gaze inward and accused the Church itself, its leaders, its culture, its very direction of having lost its way. With a calm, steady voice, he delivered a stunning rebuke. He said the clergy had traded reverence for relevance, becoming more concerned with popularity than with purity. He accused them of choosing comfort over the cross, and in doing so, betraying the very soul of the Church. The reaction was immediate. Liberal theologians rushed to their keyboards to craft lengthy rebuttals, while bishops issued vague clarifications that said everything and nothing at once. But the Pope didn't flinch. He leaned in further, accusing the hierarchy of allowing the faith to rot beneath layers of political correctness. He described modern churches as soft, sanitized spaces where hard truths are whispered or ignored entirely. He wasn't speaking in riddles or complex theological jargon. He spoke like a man who had waited far too long to say what needed to be said.
Then Pope Leo took aim at the heart of modern culture, the nature of identity itself. He wasn't just addressing gender or politics, but the deeper, philosophical idea of who we are as human beings. He issued a stark warning. When truth becomes subjective, human dignity becomes disposable. In a moment that left the room breathless, he made his most powerful declaration. There are not 1,000 truths. There is one, and he has a name: Jesus Christ. The room was instantly divided. Some rose to their feet in applause, others walked out in protest. No one was left unmoved. He continued, calling many contemporary churches little more than spiritual lounges with soft sermons that never challenge, never offend, and never dare to demand anything from the soul. Then came the line that spread like wildfire online. If the cross is offensive, then we are finally doing something right. This wasn't just a call for correction. It was a declaration of war against the lukewarmness he said had infected the Church like a slow poison. He wasn't finished. He turned his fire directly on Catholic educators, urging them to stop apologizing for the faith and watering it down to fit into modern curricula. We are not called to create comfort, he stated plainly. We are called to form saints. For years, many of the faithful had wondered why the church had grown so quiet while the world grew louder. Pope Leo answered them not with theory, but with fire. But the final blow, the sentence that turned murmurs into outrage, was aimed directly at his own leadership. Looking out at the bishops and cardinals, his voice unwavering, he said, "Your silence has not been neutral, it has been betrayal." You could feel the air shift in the room. It was a direct confrontation of the decades-long strategy of softening hard teachings in the name of diplomacy. Pope Leo made it clear he was not interested in being diplomatic, he was interested in being faithful. Reports flooded out that one archbishop left the room, while another was caught on camera looking as if the ground had been pulled out from under him. The chaos that followed was predictable. Some Catholic media outlets accused him of undoing years of pastoral outreach. Others hailed him as the first voice of clarity in a generation. But the real surprise came not from the commentators, but from the everyday Catholics in the pews. An outpouring of support emerged, with many saying, "Finally!" Finally, someone had the spine to say what they had been thinking for years, that their faith isn't outdated, and that the church doesn't need to evolve into the culture, but rather stand apart from it. Pope Leo's words reached far beyond Rome because they struck at a universal ache for truth in a world drowning in noise. He wasn't rewriting doctrine, he was digging it up from the dust, wiping it clean, and placing it back where it always belonged, front and center. Some called it reckless, others the beginning of a revolution, but no one could ignore it.
Pope Leo's statement wasn't just a challenge to bishops. It was a challenge to anyone who claims to follow the truth. When he declared that truth doesn't adapt to us, we must adapt to it, he wasn't just talking to theologians. He was talking to you and to me. So the question now is not just what the Pope said. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Do we brush this off as just another viral headline? Or do we stop and truly think? Because whether you agree with him or not, one thing is undeniable. Pope Leo XIV didn't step up to that microphone to be popular. He stepped up to be faithful. And in a world addicted to compromise, that alone is a revolution. So what's your take? Has Pope Leo gone too far, or finally far enough? Is this the course correction the Church desperately needed, or a step backward into conflict? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a real conversation about it. And if you believe the world could use more courage and less compromise, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell. This conversation is only just beginning.